Gnane parisamapyate. Wisdom as a yajna is greater than any material yajna or scourge of the four Arjun, for all works, without any exception, culminate in wisdom. Shri Krishna has given his answer in very clear language in this verse. He says that wisdom as a sacrifice, yajna, will lead to the greatest good for Arjun. Arjun had asked Shri Krishna early in the Gita that Tadekam vada nishita yena shreya amapyutam, or tell him decisively the one thing that would lead to his greatest good, and Shri Krishna tells him here that wisdom as a yajna is greater than any material yajna. Wisdom as a yajna will lead to Arjun's greatest good. Works can reach to the highest level through wisdom. Therefore, wisdom is the greatest. It is better for you in having wisdom as a yajna than it is for you to perform any material yajnas, such as giving donations, charities, money, or land, or cows, or food to people. I repeat again that yajnas include Dev Puja, worship of the gods, Sangati Karnam, gathering people for a noble purpose, and Dan, donations. I'll give a simple example. If you give food away in the material yajna, and therefore honor food by gathering people together at a center and giving them food, then this is a good thing, and it should take place in society. If you then get someone that is wise and honor that person by gathering people for wisdom, then you have given charity of wisdom by the strength of your devotion. Which of these two is better? Charity of food is good, but the scriptures say that it does not last for long. Charity, donations of food, make the recipient covetous. Even if you look at it physically, then the food does not last in that person's body for long. Prativyam trini ratani chalam anam shubhashita, meaning you can give three things away. The first is to give water to someone that's thirsty. The water will last in that person's body for 24 hours and not longer. The second is food to someone that's hungry. If you give food to someone that's hungry, then it will stay in the body for 13 hours as the nutrients in the food will get absorbed in the body, and then the rubbish will be thrown outside. Water lasts for 24 hours, food lasts for 13 hours, but powerful thoughts you give to a person will last not only throughout one's entire life, but through all their future births. Not just their entire life, but all their future births. This sacrifice of wisdom that lasts forever. Thoughts stay in the mind. Once you give water to someone to get rid of their thirst, then that does not mean that they will never get thirsty again. They will get thirsty again, and just like they got thirsty before, he will then be back to square one. If you feed a hungry person, that doesn't mean that he will never go hungry again. He will get hungry again after 8-10 hours or so, and he'll go back to the same state in which he was before. You should definitely give these things. I'm not meaning that these things shouldn't be given. They should be done, but we always fall short in the yajna of wisdom that is the most important. We only feed people and give water to people, but fall short in giving them good thoughts. For the yajna of wisdom, you give people inspirational thoughts. If you plant a seed on the ground, then it will definitely grow sometime. That is what happens in the yajna of wisdom. The seeds are always planted in the farms, and the seed will always grow. That is why our Indian culture has always prided wisdom. A person that gives wisdom, such as a teacher, guide, or guru, is always put on a very high level because they give life. That is why they are adored and given respect. The scriptures say clearly that gnanatma moksha, meaning wisdom leads to liberation, and a person does not need anything apart from liberation. Through wisdom, one gets liberation, freedom, independence, and steadiness. Through wisdom, one does good for his current life as well as his future life. All of this becomes possible because of wisdom. Through wisdom of the world, one achieves success in the world, and through spiritual wisdom, one achieves spiritual success. Knowledge is power, as Becken says. If you have wisdom of anything, then you have strength in that thing. If you do not have a wisdom, for example, of this microphone, then you don't know about it. The microphone may be next to me, yet I can still be talking by myself, and my strength is reduced. But once I come to know about it and learn how a microphone is used, then my strength is preserved. If wisdom of such an ordinary thing can save someone's strength, then where will one's strength reach when one has wisdom of the Supreme Being? Therefore, as wisdom of the world increases, and one achieves an increasing amount of success in the world, and as wisdom of oneself, the world increases, one achieves an increasing amount of success in the world, and as spiritual wisdom increases, one achieves an increasing amount of spiritual success. Through wisdom, a human's form becomes clean, and there is no doubt about it. The sacrifice of wisdom is the grace of human beings. It was given a lot of prevalence in the olden days, and other forms of yajna such as food and money only came about once people had already done the yajna of wisdom. Wisdom came first, and then came the oblations which should be given away. Nowadays in society, the other yajnas have become important, that the yajna of wisdom has become a by-the-way thing, and that is why you see deterioration in society. That is why you see credit-conscious society. That is why you see all this corruption going in society. That is why you see riots happening in London. Because nowadays in society, other yajnas have become important, and the yajna of wisdom has become a by-the-way thing. Society is deteriorating. That is why society is not changing when a few people perform the sacrifice of wisdom. The sacrifice of wisdom has been put to one side. It makes me sad that when you have kathas in the Ramayana or the Bhagavad, then people only go there to eat. When you ask people what they did, then they said that they fed 50,000 people. How much of the Ramayana or the Srimad Bhagavad did they listen to? If this is the case, then you cannot call it yajna of wisdom. You may feed people, and it's a good thing, but keep it to that. We will now do a comparison between a material yajna and a yajna of wisdom. Material yajnas lead to heaven, from which you can easily fall back into the world of birth and death, whereas the yajna of wisdom leads to liberation. Liberation is much higher than heaven. If you gather several good karmas through material yajnas, then you get punya, which is means the opposite of sins, and you enjoy that punya. To enjoy that punya, you go to heaven. But once your punya is reduced, shine punya martalokam vishanti, Shri Krishna is going to say in the 6th verse, that when one's punyas reduce, then one comes back to mortal living. People definitely get the fruits of their good deeds. Therefore, material yajnas lead to heaven, whereas yajnas of wisdom lead to liberation. Our scriptures say, for material yajnas, we have to do a lot of activities, and this leads to mental turbulence. You have to make sure everything is gathered right. You have to keep checking the food is cooked properly. You get worried about where everyone will come. You wonder whether the other person will make right use of what you give them. For example, a person you feed or thirsty can still go on to kill someone. You don't know whether that person will make the right use of what you give them. There are so many different types of tensions. On the other hand, the yajna of wisdom leads to peace. Can you ever get tension when you perform the yajna of wisdom? It should not happen in reality. There are no worries, as it leads to peace. Material yajnas do not eliminate one's karmas, but in fact, they increase them. This is because one's good karmas increase. You earn yourself good karmas. You will have to enjoy the good consequences of those karmas. Material yajnas increase bondage to karmas, whereas the sacrifice of wisdom destroys karmas completely. That is why Shri Krishna says that wisdom as a yajna is greater than any material yajna. All one's karmas get destroyed in wisdom. Material yajnas do not give one a perspective in life. Our scriptures say that on the one hand, you should give a donation to a place that gives out free food, yet on the other hand, they say that it is a sin to eat in a place that gives out free food. Thank God we stopped the subways. If you read these two things, then you see that the scriptures are trying to say, if one has a lot of wealth, then they should give it to those who do not. But at the same time, the people who are eating it are told that it is a sin to eat in a place that gives out free food, because otherwise they will become dependent on it. If it was not called sin, then people would think there were a lot of places with free food, and they think that they should not have to work for it. They would think that they should just go in and have the food and do nothing else. Then there are people like this in the world. There is so much inclination in humans to get free things that they will go wherever there are free things to get food. It is so that humans do not give a lot of attention to this inclination to get free things that our scriptures have said that it's a sin to eat in a place that gives out free food. People are so keen to take advantage in these situations. A person should have the power to say no to a thing that they have not earned the thing, or if they have no right to that thing. Only fortunate people can have this attitude. One person put an advertisement in a newspaper that a young boy is needed to do some manual work, and it was clearly written in an advertisement that a salary would be 2 meals a day and nothing else. There's a boy living in poverty who thought it would be good, he'll be able to learn a thing or two from the work, and then he could go to work somewhere else. At least he would get fed twice a day in this job. He went to give an interview, and the interviewer asked him if he had read the advertisement properly. The boy answered yes. The interviewer asked the boy whether he would get happy to be paid 2 meals a day. The boy answered yes. The interviewer told him to start work immediately. The boy asked him what the work was. The interviewer told him that there was a place with free food 5 miles away, and the boy would go there and eat, but at the same time bring a tiffin full of free food for this man. Our scriptures say that it is a sin to eat in a place giving out free food. The yajna of wisdom is not like this, because a person gets perspective in life through it. True wisdom is wisdom of the self and who you really are. You are a descendant of God. Why then are you going to beg for money? Why then are you being covetous? Nay tattva you upadhyaya, meaning this does not befit you. Through the yajna of wisdom, one attains wisdom of what she is like internally. She finds her inner wealth, and therefore she gets a perspective in looking at life. Another, in material yajnas, bondage to the threefold modes of nature, sattva, goodness, rajas, passion, and tamas, dullness, is created. On the other hand, yajna by way of wisdom is beyond the threefold modes of nature. Shri Krishna says in the Gita that Nishchay Gunyo Arjuna, meaning that the threefold modes of nature are destroyed and one is released from bondage. In material sacrifices, it is not guaranteed to you to get devotion, or anything you do will lead to the fruits. There is no such rule. Material yajnas often misfire. Say, for instance, you decide to feed 50,000 people today. At that time, your intentions are very good, but when you're feeding those 50,000 people and 5,000 of these come up to you and tell you how it was because of your blessings, then there will be a little, because that they will be able to eat, and it's possible that a little egotism will come in a person's head. He thinks that he's fed so many people. When he performed the material sacrifices, then this inclination was different, but now it has misfired. That is why his ego grew stronger and he created bondage. There is therefore no rule that material sacrifices, yajnas, will lead to fruits. On the other hand, yajnas by way of wisdom increase the possibility of fruits coming. Wisdom of the soul, contemplation of God, and actions done without desire lead to fruits because a person becomes closer to himself through wisdom. When a person has little wisdom, then egotism develops within him, but as he becomes fully involved in the yajna of wisdom, he realizes just how many limitations he had. When one knows little, then his egotism is like an elephant. Yada kinchit knoham dvipya iham dhamadasa bhava yada kinchit kanchit pudashna sakasya davadata buddha dana sakasvatkata tada muroshmiti jiva iva madameva pagata, meaning, when I knew very little, then I thought that there was nobody like me, and a person blind to his ego is like an elephant. But slowly and slowly, I became acquainted with wise people and learned a lot from them, and as I spent time with these wise people, then I realized I was very dumb. And just like sweating gets rid of one's fever, the presence of wise people got rid of my egotism. This is a very little possibility of yajna by wisdom misfiring. The fruits of this definitely come. What is this wisdom that Shri Krishna is talking about? Wisdom is not just collecting words, nor is it just collecting information. Wisdom is experience. Wisdom can never be borrowed. Wisdom comes from one's own eye, and when one destroys his own karmas, then he attains liberation. Material yagnas are all indirect. Performing material yagnas leads to punya, the opposite of sins, and after collecting punya, one may become liberated or he may attain heaven. This is indirect. On the other hand, wisdom is direct. When a person gets the wisdom that aham brahmasmi, meaning I am Brahman, I am God, then he has no need to collect punya, because he is Brahman. He is the thing that he is searching for. This yagna of wisdom is direct, whereas material yagnas are indirect. And something that is indirect is always from someone else. This is the case in material yagnas. One elderly person aged 85 years was living in a very big joint family. They all lived together. Over time, this elderly person's eyesight became weak and eventually became blind. He could not see anything, and he was taken to a doctor. The doctor checked his eyes and told him that an operation would be needed if there's any chance of restoring this person's eyesight. He asked the elderly person if he wanted his operation to be done. The elderly person said that there was no need for the operation because he had lived 85 years of his life and had gone through a lot in life. He said that there was nothing left in him to see in life, and therefore there was no need for his eyesight to come back. He said that I have 6 sons, and they each have 2 eyes, so that's 12 eyes for me. My sons serve me so much, and each of my 6 sons has a wife. Each of my daughters-in-law serves me, and I'm really happy. The 12 eyes of these 6 wives are also mine. That makes 24 eyes. My wife also serves me. That is 2 more eyes, and 26 eyes in total. All these people serve me very well. Also, my grandchildren also serve me, and therefore their eyes are also like my eyes. Therefore, I do not need my eyes, and I do not want to have this operation. Fair enough. A situation came in which there was a fire in the big bungalow they were living in. As soon as this fire started, these 26 eyes immediately went running outside, and this blind elderly man was trapped inside. The 26 people got outside, but did a head count and asked where the grandfather was. They started searching for the grandfather when they got outside. What was the use of this? They saw the bungalow burning, and none of them had the courage to go inside. At that time, the grandfather was screaming inside. He was looking for the door and yelled that he wanted to go outside. How could he escape? Can you understand the regret of this elderly person? How much regret must he have? If he had done this operation and had his eyesight restored, then he would have escaped. He had this dependency for his family, which was out of his nice feelings, and I'm not saying that he was wrong in being so close to his loved ones, but a time comes when everything is forgotten and only one's eyes come to use. One's own eyes means wisdom. Material yagnas are good and feelings are good, but they are someone else's eyes. The sons and the wives served this elderly person only up to the point where everything was going well. These are their eyes. On the majority of occasions, these people do not really have difficulties, and because there are no difficulties, this person has no intention of restoring his eyesight back. The majority of people that do social work are doing good things, and these things are needed, especially in India. We must do the things, but when performing social work, one must understand that whether the thing is giving him spiritual upliftment, or if it is opening other people's eyes and leaving his eyes closed. That is what yagna by the way of wisdom is. It is opening one's eyes and raising one's own perspective. Once this happens, then no bondages to karmas remain. People do not know how important this wisdom is. They just think that if they just sit there and chant Ram, 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 clap their hands, do arti, eat the oblations, then it's all finished. Their devotion is complete, they will attain God. Shri Krishna says that wisdom is necessary and that nothing can work without wisdom. How then can this wisdom be attained? Shri Krishna answers it in the next verse, which we'll cover in the next class because it's time. So let's close our eyes and do our closing prayers. Stop the recording? Yeah. Stop, yeah.